All right. No, okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. All right, Deppy. Sorry, Deppy. I'm just like testing a bunch of shit. Where are people going to get gear on Pyro? Space dungeons or something? Yeah, basically. Basically, exactly that. Actually, basically exactly that. All right. If you go to CZ's, that's the best thing you can do. I think there's a couple guides for them, contested zones, but you can get like similar gear from bunkers. I hear so. Alright. Let's go on with that. buggy. I can't even tell if it's attacking me. Hey, what is this? Yo, Harry, what's up, brother? It's had a weird gun. Oh, fucking railgun, dude. Alright, I've been getting pretty lucky with these railguns. Dude, look, yo, I am fucking rolling in it right now. Alright, we gotta get out of here. How do we get out of here? We'll go this way.
Emergency access granted.
You go to a pirate party without a railgun? I think this is like my 5th railgun of the patch. Which I am happy about. Oh shit, sorry Seb, I didn't see this. Verge, love your content. We do an updated tier list for PvP, or is it too confidential still? Getting into the PvP space and have little knowledge, would love to know more. Also, how doable is CZ solo and pretty good FPS? Didn't heavy backpack give you a 3rd slot for railgun? Yeah, it could, but the heavy backpacks I think slow you way down. And like, being slow will actually get you killed, especially if you're solo. But to answer your question, would I do an updated tier list? I'm just trying to think if the tier list is... Shh. Yeah, I probably should do another one, huh? Like, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Because the Hornet Ghost Mark II and the Tracker Mark II is in there. The Guardian's in there now too. It could be worth. Holy fuck! These fucking dogs, man, they're gonna fucking kill me. SEZ soloable with great difficulty. But it's not like a good difficulty either. It's like you just eventually will run into so many bugs. Then the tiered injuries fuck you. Dude, these guys are mauling this guy. Look at this, they're all mauling this dude. Yeah, like, dude, I need to get... Does anyone have, like, a tier list with the updated ships, though? That's the real question. Guys, look at all this fucking loot. This is nice. This is actually really nice. Okay, so I'm gonna drop that. I saw a Kana. Where was it? Was it over here? Where was the Kana I just saw? Maybe back here? Oh, it's here. Okay. Strip this thing. Okay. What mods does this have? Hold on. What ones do these have? Normal holographic. Tweaker compensator. Okay. And then these have... Okay. Oh, shit. Honestly, it's more valuable to me. I don't appreciate whining from the other sources. Dude, Avengers... Avengers tier list is just a complete lie. I'm not gonna lie, guys. Like, it's just a total lie. It's like not even close to the truth of it. Pistol. Actually, should drop that. Should take that. Shit, did my gun fall through? Might have. I am taking too long to do this. This is starting to get sketch. That can't be good. Those guns I'm hearing, that cannot be good. Okay, now I'm getting a mini nervous about this. Let's print this fucking card. Yes. Okay. Keycard in. Yeah, this is bad. If they're getting mauled, we'll leave. Fuck! I fucking knew it, dude. The dead rig one shot, man. Oh, it's brutal. Okay. Alright, we just gotta fucking rush back. Oh, that's painful. Oh no, there's a player in here, dude. There's a player jacking all my shit right now. What is the odds of that, man? What are the fucking odds? What are the odds? It was completely abandoned. He comes into the same room as I am. One of 3 chances. And he catches me after I get one shot by a dead rig. Fuck. Fuck, man. So frustrating. It's like the equivalent of getting extract camped. See why you suggest more people? It's the NPCs. Like, it's the injuries and the NPCs. Like, that's the biggest threat. I'm just gonna put together a random fucking kit and just rush this dude down. Hopefully I can get there quick enough. I need a fuse. Do I not have a fuse? I have no fucking fuses. That's so bad. Okay. Pray to God he gets greedy. Pray to God he's alone and not extracting. And pray that I can get a fuse in time. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Just such bad luck, man. Fuse, please be a fuse. Good. Okay, we're gonna hold this. We're gonna put it on the carry slot. Okay. Don't need to look at it. Just fucking let's go, dude. Bro, it already fell out. Are you kidding me? Okay, whatever. The last thing I want to do is run into a bug. Are you trolling? What? Dude, I swear, when you need the game to play well, it will not play well. Like, oh, it's infuriating, man. That was, I think that was an NPC sniping me from the other side of the map, missing me and hitting our barrel, is what just happened. Like, this is like not even, it's just bad luck. It's just terrible luck. God, man. Oh. This guy is just gotten the most free run. Like, imagine going into Crypt like this and you just get free stuff. Just free. So painful. Like, didn't even get to PvP this dude. Didn't even get the chance to fight. God, man. The odds of this, man. The odds. The insane amount of, like, consecutive things that had to go this way for this to happen. It's a fucking squad, dude. The dogs respawned to insta. And my body is fucking jacked and covered in dogs, dude. Oh, it's so painful. Whatever, GG's, I guess. The only thing I can do now is kill them. I didn't see a railgun on either of their backs. Which means one of them probably extracted with all my stuff. Oh, man. I want to go nuclear on these dudes. We'll buy good stuff. I died. Is that you typing in my SC chat? Probably. I'm in a bad mood, so I feel like taking it out on some Care Bears with bad arguments. But yes, that's me for sure. Great, I have a grenade launcher. Why do I have a fucking grenade launcher? Ugh. Well, this is really stupid. This is really stupid. Spawn killing. Wait, what? What did I just hear? What did I even just hear? The guy said spawn camping would be equivalent to. Hey, Sin, was that a. Is your shard 010? Virgil's here? That's the beauty of 500 player servers, man. Everyone sees everybody. 050, so I went to the wrong server. Shit. Can I add you to friends to go back in? Okay, let me reset this. That's why you guys just saw me all typing? Yo, dude. Maybe I need to put TTV in my name. That's actually pretty funny. I'll add you if I can get back in. That guy's definitely got like left with my gear though. Such a bummer. Such a bummer, bro. Try not to rage my tits off at this. And now I've got a 10-minute loading screen. It's like this is like the most frustrating part about SC. It's like when you need things to run smoothly is when it doesn't. You can't lean on the game to work well when you need it to work well. You're stuck in the loading screen. Yo, I got another one to go because I've connected the wrong fucking server. The worst part is I don't think it's gonna let me out of this server either. I'll have that dorky log timer thing. Oh. I love how like I log out and I log like go to menu and I reconnect expecting to be able to continue the conversation. But no. Now there's gonna be a 20-minute pause before I reply to this guy. Like fuck me, man. No, I'm not doing this. Not going through that again. You'd think before they shipped trailers to IGN, they would make sure that their loading screens don't take 20 minutes. Alright, let me add you. Hey, how do I spell your name, Sin? Perfect. Sinless. Alright, I gotcha. Did you get that? No. Someone else had to have been on that server. Be nice if it told you who. Yo, Illuminati. I'm trying to pronounce. Illuminati, are you in that server? Like, maybe I can add you. Of course, the friend request doesn't work, by the way. Just another bug getting in the way. Need to go soon? Fair enough. Dude, what's the website for tier lists? Oh, Star Citizen tier list 4.0. Let's see if that works. You got back in? Okay. I just have to wait this out though, because it's just gonna keep me locked to this server until I can log out legit. I'm trying to find a ship tier list that has the new ships in it, but they're not in it. Am I bugged? No, it's just fucking game is dumb. It's just instead of giving us no loading screens, they gave us the longest loading screens out of any video game in the history of video games. Like how dude, I'm so tired of this. Like dude, there we go. Now I go to menu. Nice. Is the Guardian here? Regular saber, not firebirds. A good point. Are they still crying about? Bro, I get on and the argument's over. What do you guys think? Maybe I just do a tier list. How about we just do that? Okay. Let's do it. Let's fucking do it. Fuck it. But I just, like, here, help me with this. Hold on, let's just do this. Fuck it. Fuck it, man. Fuck it. Alright. Fuck it. I need a break anyway. Game's driving me crazy right now. Okay, if I... Okay, first off, I need to get an ad blocker. Firefox ad blocker. Nice, it worked. Okay. Music. Music, 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 music. No, it didn't work. They just came back after the fact. Whatever, I could maybe still make this work. Let's see. Alright, fuck it, let's do it. Okay, so let's just have a look at this. Hold on. It's missing some ships. You guys have to bear with me because we need to get the important recent ships. So, does it have the Hornet Mark II? The Hornet Mark II. It's got these. Wait, I can't even edit. Are you telling me I can't edit this? Oh, wait, go to the template. Oh, wait, no, we go back. We remix this list. Okay, great. Now, right there. No Guardian. I don't think. FHC, Perseus. I'm just going to do fighters. Diarastra. Okay. If the Arastra is here, then surely so is. Surely so is 21, what's up, brother? If the Arastra is here, surely the Guardian is. Guardian. The Rambler? Okay, so we need to make some of the Guardian. Hold on. Google Star Citizen Guardian. And I guess I need to make it inside of Photoshop. Let's just make sure I can do this without you guys seeing it. Okay. Can I just upload that? Let's just see if this works. Save. God. Let me hide this maybe. Okay, cool. Yeah, I actually can. All right, what are some other ships that have just come out, guys? We got Star Citizen, um, Hornet Ghost Mark II. Okay. Okay, great. Guardian, Hornet Ghost Mark 2, and then the Tracker Mark 2, right? Hey, quick question. Does the Hornet Tracker have better radar? Like actually? Oh, yeah, I'm streaming, but it's without comms. Why? Oh god, I don't even want to know. Do you think this is worse because of the hit reg? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I've seen enough. I'm in disgust. But the Hornet Tracker does do the radar thing, yeah. I'll just okay. All good. I'll be back. All right. So what else do we need? We need the Ghost Mark 2. Now we need the Hornet Tracker. Hornet Tracker. And then what? The Polaris, probably, right? Oh yeah, we could do this one. The Tracker Mark 2. All right. And then did this list have we save this tracker. We go back to this. We open this one, these two. Last one is the Polaris is in it. Yeah. Okay. No, I think we're good now then. All right. So if I go back to this thing. Okay. Okay. And how did I function this last time I did this video? It was. Oh, I just did. Okay, so like, okay, so I just did STR A B C D E. Okay, cool. All right. Well, we can work with that, right? We can work with that. Ion should be Z tier. I just don't. I want to do it for real. Okay, so now let's like actually get into this. Okay, so like let me get comfortable and let me get a drink because this is gonna take forever. All right, all right, all right. All right, are we ready for this shit? Okay. All right, so we will do. This is definitely there. We go. We will only do fighters in PvP. Okay, just so we're all understanding of the rules. I am only going to base this off of PvP viability, okay, and including the PU, and PvPing and dogfighting. Yeah. So how well these ships perform in PvP. If I have not included your ship on the list, it's because it is not good enough to be on a list, or it has some purpose that is mostly not to do with combat. Yeah. And then I'll just have a brief description of why everything goes everywhere, and stuff like that. I am not going to put, for example, like most of the Origin ships, if not all of them, because you're buying those with like coffee machines and stuff like that. They are luxury ships, etc. Okay, they can do combat, but I'm not going to do that. If it's for another purpose, then it won't go in there. Not because of anything besides the fact that it's also useless at PvP in a sense. Yeah. Um, you guys can let me know in the comments of the YouTube video and stuff if you disagree. I can tell you guys why, stuff like that. Yeah. But I think I'm pretty confident I know exactly where these ships stack up. And let's get into it. And I'll also make adjustments. Yeah. Like as this goes, it will things will move around. So where you see things early isn't exactly indicative of what it's going to be at the end. I'll also like try to organize it best left to right. Yeah. So let's get into it. Yeah. All right. The Reliant. I'm just let's just put that there for now. We'll just set the stage. We don't care about the whole ships. Prospector, obviously not. The Freelancer, the Freemax, the Free Doe, we're not going to go that. We'll put that there for now. That's the Freelancer miss, all the missiles. Not going to do ships that aren't out yet. M50, we could put in there, I guess. Just to start moving these things around. Connie's. Andromeda. Idris, the Scorpius. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. I'm just going to start putting these in places. You know, I shouldn't do this. Maybe I can just move them to the front of the queue. That way. Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll move ships that PvP just to the top of this list. Just so we know. We can get rid of some of the ridiculous ships. The Talon, the Legionnaire, the Zeus, the Guardian can go up here. The Hornet Tracker Mark II, the Ghost Mark II. Firebird. Rambler, Rastral, Scout, Hornet Mark II. The F8C. The Polaris. The Razors. Just, I guess the Archimedes. Which is the Razor that's combat orientated? I forgot. I try to stay away from these little ships. Cutlass Blue. Cartwall. The normal Hornets. The Warden. The Ares Ion. The Ares Inferno. Just not going to do starter ships. The Santokyai. Eclipse. The X is stealth, none are really combat. Okay, but they all have the same guns. I'll just put the X on it then. The Shrike. And what's the best constellation again? I always forget it because they always call it a Connie, so I don't know which one is the better. The Gladius. The Hole Prospector. None of these. None of these. The Andromeda. Okay. The Scythe we put up there. The Saber. The Saber Raven. Sayulan. We can. The Retaliator should go in there. The Corsair should probably go in there. The Glaive. The Fury should definitely go up there. Blade should definitely go up there. I think that's it, right? Like, I don't think I should include any of these others because they're for different purposes. Put the Ballista there just because I want it to be there. The Hammerhead should go up there. Oh, the Antares should go up there. Okay, Prospector, the Scythe should be up there. This Guardian, this. Anything from here that I have not included? The Spirit A1. Sure, I'll put that in there. That kind of belongs. The Prowler. No, I don't want to do dropships. I don't want to, like, we're going to be here for 10 years if we start doing that. I don't want to do the Zeus either. Where's the Polaris? Did I put the Polaris here? I can't find the Polaris. Storm, Pulses, Ironclads, Arastra, Starfare, Prowler, Merlin, Razor, Caterpillar, Herald. I must have already put the Polaris up here, right? Yeah, I did. Up the top. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Thoughts on the Eclipse? Yeah, it doesn't really work right now. Nomad's a strange one. It's pretty handy. I don't know if it qualifies. Yeah, I don't want to do a starter ship unless I think it's like strictly combat. What about Avenger, like Titans and stuff? I don't think they're in this list. Because I don't think they included the Avenger Titan. Did they? Look. It's not here, is it? Is there anything else that they haven't included here? Oh no, the Titan. Here we go. No, the Titan is here. Not the Warlock, I guess, but I can include that in the description. Okay, no. This is good enough. This is good enough. All right, no. Again, since we had to organize all of this. Okay, here guys. This is setting the stage. I am going to rate... can I add... Wait, can I add another category? Add a row below. Make it... Wait, no, that should be good green. And then this should just be... F. Terrible. No, F. Is that the right colors? Isn't it supposed to be like the other way round? Shouldn't like it progressively get worse and start green at the top? Doo-doo brown. Let me check my last video I did this on. Oh, F was blue in my last video. Okay, we make it blue. Makes more sense. Maybe S should be blue. This should be green. This should be lighter green. Then this should be like, yeah, like this. Like this is way better, right? Wait, no, that's way better. That's way better, right? You guys like that? I think that's the best way to do it. Let me just check. Yeah, for sure. Okay. Okay, cool. The letters? Oh. Yeah, you're right. You were right. Good point. And then I gotta change this. Thanks for spotting that out. Actually, it would have saved me redoing this whole thing. Okay, that's good. Yeah? Okay. All right. No, okay, guys, we're starting it now. All right, so about, let me see, how long ago was this video? This video was 6 months ago, and it was a 323 patch. All right? We're 6 months in. The last video I did with my tier list was master modes. This video is based off of 4.0. So the last video I did was master modes in 323. Again, this is going to be based off of PvP in both the PU and competitive PvP, which it can include arena command and stuff like that. Dogfighting, etc., etc. Ships that perform their role very well, if the role is powerful itself, will get ranked high. For example, if electronic warfare's ranked terrible, then the ship will rank terrible. If interdiction is really strong, the ship will rate very well. Doesn't mean that the ship has to be incredibly strong. It can also be the loop that it's sitting inside. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. What else is there? There is, yeah, I will prioritize the best at their roles and the best that are the most useful. So if you're looking at this from top to bottom, it will be the most useful ships that you would want to bring with your organization and stuff like that for PvP. Okay, this is strictly PvP. All right. So now we've established the rules. Let's get into it. Now, you know what's really funny is I put the Hornet Mark II at number 1 in my last video, and everybody told me I was wrong. Yeah. And isn't that hilarious? Everybody thought it was the Drake Buccaneer because of a certain video. Not true, never was true, and I ended up being right. Yeah. Point being, number 1 is absolutely the F7A Hornet Mark II, like by far. Yeah, like this ship by far is the best ship you can get in the game right now. It has all of the firepower. Its signature is not crazy high, meaning it's not like missile bait. It has so much damage to maneuverability. Like the ratio there is just crazy. It is a force multiplier like no other. It is absolutely the best ship right now in 4.0. Like this is the ship you want. Yeah. Like it's got a lower skill ceiling because it's not as flight centric and it's more aim centric because of the guns. It's not sluggish on the nose. The nose authority is pretty good. It is the king and it remains the king. Yeah. This ship is it. There was somewhat of an argument that it was limited with the 2 MFDs, which was purely based off the bug where you couldn't see who the player name is of the target you were selecting. That bug has since been fixed. The Hornet Mark II takes number 1. I will argue that till I die right now, yeah? Like this is the king of PvP, okay? So if you're watching this video thinking, what ship should I get? It's this thing by miles. The F7A Mark II. You want the F7A, which you can get from the new executive hangar with the best components in the game, by the way. So absolutely, I picked up one today. But yeah, get one of these. It is by far number 1. Okay. What else is there? The Bennu Defender. I'm gonna put that. If F is useless, if E is let's just leave that one for now. Firebird S tier. You're not wrong, brother. You're not wrong. Let's just do that one next. Let's do... Where is the... No, we're going to just work through these. Okay, the Defender, we'll just sit it at E for now. Yeah, it's not a terrible ship. The advantages to the Bennu Defender is it has a larger than normal capacitor, which means it holds a lot of firepower. It is got like the bed log out. It's got the space. It's pretty tanky. It turns all right. It's just not a bad ship. Yeah, it's not standing out as being great, but it's not bad. Let's maybe put it at D for now. We'll see. Subject to change. Yeah. The Hurricane. Okay, this is actually getting pretty difficult. This is getting rough. It's hard with the middle ground ones. Let me get some other middle ground ones into here. The Buccaneer. Where's the Buccaneer go? Oh, this is so hard. It's always so hard early in the beginning. The Firebird S tier right now, okay? Missiles are crazy good. The Firebird offloads a ton of missiles. It holds a ton of missiles. It is stealth. It has interceptor tuning, which means it's fast on the straights. Okay, this ship is a menace. Yeah, an absolute menace. When I'm in Arena Commander against one of these things, if you do not have a stealth power plant, it is unplayable against these things. Not to mention, missile warnings are a little bugged right now. You can hear the lock tone, but you can't hear that the missile's inbound. So they control you with it and kill you. It's extremely tilting in our training sessions. And we actually recently just made a video about the Firebird stuff, but a really good ship. You know, if you're not the type of guy that wants to aim at a pip and you want to try combat with another approach, I think the first most effective approach that CRG have delivered is the missile gameplay. It needs to be more interesting. It needs to be more fun. But the Firebird is really good, and it's a different playstyle. It's really cool. There's some tricks you can learn with it. The Firebird is absolutely competitive. Like, we can have big org fights, and the MVP go to a player in a Firebird. So I can't stress this enough. It's funny because people thought I was crazy for putting the Firebird up high last time. And I was worried that if I put the Firebird high on the list, everyone would start flying it. Hasn't been the case, so I'm more confident with it. But now, not that I'm going to damage the game for doing it, but yeah, the Firebird's just incredible. It definitely goes up there as well. Next up, okay, let's go with let's go with the Talon. The Talon. I'm going to put it A tier. Talon's ridiculously good in atmosphere. It's like the best dogfighter in atmosphere, in my opinion. It handles atmosphere so well. It never falls out of the sky with its mechanics. The fold wings, fold them in and out. It's really great. It's really tanky for what it is. It can take a massive beating. The downside is it loses some of its wings components, starts falling out of the sky, but any other ship would have died in that time. I put it high as a dogfighter, even though it's not as much on the damage front, but so tanky and just performs so well in atmosphere. Like, if there was an atmosphere tournament, I think there would, depending on how thick the atmosphere is, I think there would be a serious argument to fly the Talon, because it just like soars through Atmos so well and extremely compelling. You take atmosphere out of the equation, I think the Talon drops like 3 or 4 ranks. But because it plays so well there, and it doesn't play terrible in space, it's good. It's just not great. But because it's arguably a lot greater in atmosphere, you can turn rate people, stuff like that. I'm going to keep it at A for now. The Blade. I think the Blade goes in A, and I think it goes ahead of the Talon. So I put the Blade ahead of the Talon, but in the A category. The cannons shred. It is just an absolute damage beast. It's got some nice accelerations. It's pretty tanky. The only reason I don't give this thing an S is because it's got a horrible cockpit experience. Like, the cockpit layout, it's not like a bubble canopy or anything. There's like elements of the ship in the way. The HUDs are really bad placement. It feels off-centered. The color of the UI and stuff's really poor. And there's just like low visibility inside of it. The Blade we have now is not the one they're using in Squadron 42. We should get the new one, but I guess they want to hold on to that. But the Blade like is really good. We just saw it a 2v2 tournament, however many months ago, and the Blades are what won the tournament. So if you took like a Buccaneer or anything besides the combination of a Gladius or a Blade, you got eliminated pretty quickly from that tournament. So the Blade is just really, really strong, but that visibility and stuff is a real downside to it. But really, a really good ship for sure. Yeah, the missile gameplay, you're not wrong, Voodoo. The missile gameplay it's probably going to get worked on. So this might be subject to change. What else is there? The Saber. I think last time we had the Saber in this list, I ranked it at F. The Saber has since, has just always been a joke. It's funny. When I first came to the game, the Saber was the best ship. It was the best all-around ship. The reason it was so compelling is because it had the guns. It had 3 shields at the time, so it had the defense. But the most important aspect it had was speed. They took that away from it, and because they took away from it, it became like a flying pancake. Everyone calls it a pancake because you just see this gigantic disc flying at you like this instead of like this, and it was just 3 points. Now, since this happened, since this has come out, the Saber's got really low radar signature, which is really beneficial, which means even you can't target the ship a lot of the time, so you don't get these opportunities to shoot it like a pancake or a target. And because of that, it also got a huge turn rate buff. Yeah, like a massive turn rate buff. The problem is a Hornet, is like shaped kind of like this, right? Like where it's not as big a silhouette to shoot at. Saber's still like this, so that's why I won't rank it up at the S tier or the A tier. The shape of the ship can make or break a ship, and the problem is until the Saber becomes extremely agile or gets interceptor tuning to be repurposed for something else, it just can't wrestle. Because the moment you add a second player to the equation against the Saber, it dies so quickly. A Saber's scary front on. The moment you're third partying it, so in a team fight or anything, when it's like this, it's just easy pickings. So the Saber's definitely climbed up some ranks. It's not useless. It's gotten some really nice buffs, but they don't put it in the S or A category, yeah? So I think B is a good place to put it. What else is there that are some obvious ones? The Buccaneer, I'm going to put at B. It's funny, the Buccaneer, I strongly believe in this. The Buccaneer was never good. The Buccaneer is a ship that you play to lose in. It is an interceptor, meaning it's a support ship. You got to play this thing as a support role. It is to intercept targets that are running away, that are leaving, that are on their way to dying or trying to escape. If you're taking this thing out with a squad, or if you're taking this thing out solo or as a squad composition, if you're bringing more than one of these, it's a terrible move because you are abandoning dogfighting, you are abandoning turn rate, you are limiting your escape options strictly to forward straights. You can't turn and navigate around like asteroids for cover and use terrain. And you're hindering, you're lowering the skill ceiling on the performance that you can have in a fight. So I think this is one of the most misunderstood ships that you can bring. It is a very poor choice, and it is strictly a support ship. This ship cannot 1v1 almost anything that is considered a PvP ship nowadays. It loses to everything. In a group environment, yes, you can try and shuffle attacking ships. For example, one Buccaneer goes in, a second Buccaneer goes in, and then the third, and they chip away and then run. But this strategy itself just isn't effective because 3 Hornets can kill, or even 1 Hornet can kill a Buccaneer in a single pass. So, just a bad ship. A terrible ship that recently got nerfed too. The last time I made this video, it was stronger than it is. It's since had a lot of nerfs to it. I believe it lost a shield even, and not a ship I would pick. I don't think I have a single member in our organization that has one of these. And yeah, misleading. I think you buy the Buccaneer if you never want to die and take good camera footage of a fight, but that's about it. There's really no purpose to this thing. I'm actually going to put it at C tier purely because it's got a lot of damage. And when it does play that support role, it can play that support role well. But the advantage to you playing that support role is very little. I almost feel compelled to bring it down to a D, but it's just so limited. And the only thing it's got going for it is escape. Because say you even use this as a support role, if you're running away from a fight and you know that there's a Buccaneer on your tail, what do? You just drift, you just turn, use your turn rate. The Buccaneer can't turn and it just slides off into the grass like it's Formula One. Slides way off into the grass and up it against the wall. Yeah. You can lose these things really easy. You just employs a little bit of turn rate, curve your escape route, and you're easily out of it. So I'm having a hard time fighting pulling it down to D, but we'll leave it there for now. So a really seriously misunderstood ship. The Hawk, I'm going to put it F for now. Just not compelling. It doesn't have anything going for it. Isn't extremely agile. It used to have a lot of damage going for it back in the day. That's since been outweighed by the Hornets. It also, the methodology of the weapons since Master Modes has been that the higher damage weapons actually do more damage now than less damage than smaller. So like, for example, pre-Master Mode, stacking a large amount of smaller weapons was the best way to do damage. That's since gone the other way, which hurt the Hawk the most, really, because it's just rocking 2s and 1s. So the Hawk's kind of just lost its personality, right? Like, it's a tiny ship, almost as small as a snub. It's got a lot of firepower, but that firepower has since been outscaled by other ships. And you'd expect it needs like agility buffs, maybe, or electronic warfare needs to come into play more. But yeah, just not a compelling ship right now. So we'll put that one at F. Next up, the Gladius. We're going to put the Gladius up here. So the Gladius, I would say if I did this tier list right before 4.0 in 3.24, I'd say the Gladius would be the king because of the recent nameplate bugs or the name bugs, so you can't read and see who you're targeting. Having the 4 MFDs really helped with that. Now we're just purely relying on the ship characteristics, and that bug has since been fixed. It's the most agile and has the most available to it. Like, you look at other ships like the Arrow, there's a downside. It's the shield, stuff like that. The Gladius is just a really good all-around rounder right now. If you want agility and usefulness, you go the Gladius. But the problem is you're going to get outgunned by the Hornet. And the skill ceiling and skill floor, like the requirement to push the Gladius far, it takes a lot of skill. Like, a lot. This is the most difficult flight ship to perform well in. But if you get very good at the game and get all that skill, then you can really do some work with the Gladius. The only downside is the Firebird and Hornet Mark II are easier ships to fly. So better or easier to make a good performance out of those two ships than it is the Gladius. But extremely capable. It is the best light fighter right now. The highest skill ceiling ship in competitive PvP. The hardest to make competitive in PvP, but very capable. But seriously dependent on the pilot. So we'll leave that there. I'll be back. I'm just going to turn the aircon on. All right, all right. All right, what do we have next? Next, we can do the Hornet Tracker Mark II. Supposed to be increased radar, not significant enough. Just not compelling enough. I think these ships, and you guys might have to correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't clarified this with CIG, but the nose guns aren't available on the Hornet Tracker Mark II alongside the Ghost. So they are purely reliant on their unique personalities, which is like radar and tracking, which is not convincing enough to lose that much damage in the ship. So I'm going to put that at a D. It's still got the neat flight characteristics of the Hornet, which aren't bad. And that like kind of that interesting middle ground between it's still flight capable, it's not too slow, it's tanky as well, and then it's got damage, but it just doesn't have all that damage that the Mark II F7A has. So we'll put it, yeah, not even as a mini AWACS. It's just like the amount of usefulness you get from the tracking and the radar is just like barely I'll explain it more with the Ghost, but the problem is the consequences of downgrading to that ship to lean into that mechanic does not give you a good enough advantage. So a good example is, I'll throw the Ghost Mark II into this equation. I actually did this test at the beginning of the stream, but a Ghost Hornet Mark II with a F7A mount on the roof and the size 4s on the wings provided 300 meters of stealth in comparison to the F7A. 300 meters difference in detection range on a Hornet at the price of losing 2 size 3 guns is not worth it. 300 meters is like 1 second. You know, like barely. Like in an entire fight, they were maybe not visible for 2 seconds or 1 second of that fight. You know, like the difference is too small to justify sacrificing the damage that you get from the Hornet Mark II F7A. So I think the Tracker and Ghosts kind of Mark II variants just fell flat. I placed them at D. I'd probably move them up to B if they had the nose gun on them. But because they don't have the nose gun on them, actually, I'd probably move them up to A. But because they don't have the nose gun on them at the moment, yeah, just doesn't provide enough value. I think like if the Hornet Tracker had some insane tracking buffs and maybe they were provided to the group or something, it would be very compelling. But, you know, we're at that early stages with stealth and radar and stuff, and it's just not a really developed loop yet. And it's really, you know, early days. You shouldn't say early days. We're at 12 years, right? But there's just a lot more interesting mechanics and gameplay to go into those loops, and they're just not there yet. But because these new ships, do not have anything you can put on the nose at the moment, we're going to leave them like that. Yeah, probably like that, actually. I'll leave them at D for now. But yeah, it's a shame. Like, I think the Ghost could have been given maybe the nose gun and then some pretty significant stealth. And then it would have been really interesting. And the Tracker, like, we just don't know, like, what having good tracking benefits PvP with, you know? Nice, thanks for the explanations. Yeah, no worries. But I think like the tracking and radar gameplay could be really great in the future. Like example, if you paired like a Tracker with a Firebird, maybe that could give a passive buff to missile tracking in the Firebird, stuff like that. Like, there's some interesting mechanics you could put into that. but they're just not there yet. Next up, the Hurricane, compelling an atmosphere in space, kind of dies a slower death. I'd probably put it at I'd put it at C, but I'd put it ahead of the Buck. In atmosphere, where like you're caged with these guns, and weapons are more prevalent in atmosphere because the speeds are slower, but the weapon speed stayed the same. The Hurricane dominates airspace like no other, but in space it just falls pretty short. So I'd argue maybe B. Yeah, I'd probably move it closer to B, I think, just because it's got such a good atmosphere performance. But there's always that argument: is it better to be in two ships? I take it back. It's got to go C, because how it isn't better than two Hornets, well, for example, or even two Gladiuses, maybe. Two Blades, it's going to die. Two Talons, it would have a hard time. Two Sabers, it's going to die. To the two-player requirement, it brings it to a C, I think. But yeah, in atmosphere, very capable, like, for sure. The Hornet F8. The F8. Now, here's the thing. Like, if you're looking at the Hornet like it's a fighter, it's not. Like, it's not. It's more like a modern Vanguard nowadays. Like, kind of the old Vanguard, where it's heavy on guns, heavy on tankiness, but it will die to any capable fighter. Like, it will die to all of the above. Every one of the ships above it will beat it in a 1v1 because it just is so sluggish. But if your target package is like constellations, it's using it for piracy to take on bigger ships, go after Polarises with a large group and stuff like that. The sheer firepower and tankiness is useful. So I'm going to put it at the back of an A. But that is me being very complimenting of it. It falls extremely short in competitive dogfighting. If you pack a lot of these together, you can maybe defend airspace with your tankiness and guns. For example, like 4 Gladiuses go up against 4 Hornets. 4 F8s. You'd be surprised at how much damage these F8s are doing third party. And then it's got that tankiness to buy its time for the other F8s to help. So you stack these things with other F8s and stuff like that, it starts to become effective. But yeah, not very compelling and falls short of the ships that are ahead of it in the list. So not a great ship, but I think it's got some purposes when you're looking at the PU especially, and like purpose gameplay. Again, like hunting large prey, stuff like that. So I put it up there. The Mantis. I'm gonna put it S tier. Yeah. And I put this in the last video. I don't remember where I put the Mantis in the last video, but interdiction, guys, is so good right now. Yeah, like interdiction meta is a thing. It severely hinders the ability to escape, almost makes it impossible. And with master modes, has just got like a gigantic buff. The 2-speed system, which is like you go into nav mode to escape, and you do all your combat inside of SCM and SCM boosted. You rule escape off the table. It is gone. It does not exist anymore if you have a Mantis in the picture. So one Mantis can stop an entire group from being able to escape. Like, say you run into a group of 5 Gladiuses, and the moment they feel pressured, they nav mode out, they come back, they nav mode out, they come back, and they stretch this fight, and they slowly pick you apart. They cannot slowly pick you apart if you have a Mantis interdicting them. If they're interdicted, these Gladiuses run out of gas quickly, and they die quickly. Mantis is the most underutilized ship right now and is so strong. It is crazy. Yeah? Like, people need to start using interdiction in PvP far more than they are. Because it is like so powerful in the master modes meta. You take away nav mode escaping from players and they just die. Yeah. Mind you, you're then playing Protect the President, aka the Mantis. And that Mantis is playing a game of dodge missiles and try not to die. And I tell you what, like, for our Mantis pilots in their organization, like, they don't get enough credit for how defensive they have to play and how much hell it is to be in a Mantis. You have to coordinate with your allies or your squad when you want that interdiction to go up, when you want to take it down so that you can escape. You have to peel for it. You have to avoid missiles because it is missile bait. It gets hammered by missiles because the signatures are so high. But a Mantis can be the most effective pilot in an entire org fight for sure. Like, they are so strong because interdiction plays so well, and the Mantis plays interdiction the best, with its multiple options, the snare and the slow. It is just the trap and the slow. It's just so good. So I rate it really well. Yeah. With that being said, the Antares as well. Where do we put the Antares? I'd put the Antares at the top of A. Again, based off the interdiction, the dampening, but it's also got the interceptor tunings, meaning not only does it quantum interdict, but it chases as well. Insane. Like, if you're bounty hunting with a group or like hunting specific targets, the Antares is wicked. Yeah, wicked. So are really good. The only consequence and the only reason I would put it probably second next to the Hornet Mark II if it wasn't for the second player requirement. The second player requirement's the only reason it goes to A. So yeah. Now what else have we got? The Scorpius. Yeah. I'm gonna leave that for now, actually. Okay, the arrow. The arrow will put behind the saber at B. Yeah, it's got impressive turn rate, more impressive than most ships. It's got that tiny silhouette, so it's really hard to shoot at. But the one shield, because of the weapon scaling going up, meaning the higher the weapon size, the more damage it's doing, and that it's restricted to the ones on the roof. It kind of fell off a little bit when it came to its damage output. The one shield is very limiting, and it just tends to fall behind. It's not bad. It plays well. It's also got poor nose authority in comparison to the Gladius. Like, there's not as much drift on the nose. I forgot what the terminology the guys use is. Oversteer. It's got more oversteer than the Gladius. So nose authority is a bit worse, and that's why people don't use it right now. So capable, it's got some traits, but the two traits that it falls behind on is tankiness, which is understandable. It's like tiny, so it needs to be. But just kind of falls behind. Hand-walling channel when it's always been a hand-walling channel. The Gladius, yeah, just smokes it. So I'd put it at B. Not useless, not as useful as some of the other ships. The Archimedes. What do I want to do with Snubs? I'll put Snubs at A. No, ahead of B. Thing is, if you fly a snub fighter in PvP, you're a scumbag anyways, because you're usually just abusing the tiny ship that performs really terrible over internet networks. But no quantum drive. Really slow damage output. Annoying to hit. Very agile. But no, I'd put it there actually. but just falls behind. And again, like, I don't think you're learning much flying one of these. I don't think they're very compelling. They can die all of a sudden and quickly, extremely vulnerable to ballistics because you're relying on barely ever getting hit with this thing. And for every time you do get hit to the hull, it's pretty devastating because you don't have much hull to work with. So don't fly snub fighters, guys. They're dorky. And I would put it probably there. No, I'd probably put it there at C tier. Just, yeah, a whole lot of show, but a whole lot of talk, but not a lot of walk. I think it's got stuff on paper, but when it comes to how effective and scary these things are, they're kind of mild. Gara Saber B tier pain. I'm trying to get a buff for you, brother. That's what it is. The Fury, just a better Archimedes. I'd put the Fury probably there at A. As far as snubs go, it's the best snub, for sure. It's got so much agility. It's fast on the straights. It's fast on the corners. It's fast on the turn rate. It's not as stuck into the pitch medic and kind of turn in different directions at good speeds. It's susceptible, but can take a beating. It feels tanky for being a snub fighter. The no quantum drive hurts it for sure, though, and limits its PU effectiveness. You have to swarm with this thing, and you have to mothership out of something with this thing. So that's probably why I would put it here instead of maybe closer onto A or at the back of S tier. But a good ship, yeah? Like, if you're playing with an org and you want to swarm, you want to squad hunt in this thing, and you're coming out of a Polaris, maybe, it's not a bad pick. It ain't. It's not better than these others in S tier. And no quantum drive really hurts the logistics of using this thing. But yeah, not a bad ship. As far as snubs go, pretty good. I'd argue probably too good for a snub fighter. Just because it's like a toxic good. It's just too evasive. The game can't really compute ships of that size. And it takes too much damage for how hard it is to hit these things, just based off the game not being able to catch up. So the Fury, late A makes sense to me. The Gladiator, FTR, insanely tanky. The missile loadouts just aren't compelling against against Firebirds and stuff. The torpedoes, there's just not really a place for it. Yeah, it just goes in F. Just not a good ship, really. Freelancer Miss. Interesting. It's got a lot of missiles, but those guns are useless on it. You've got next to no turn rate. So those guns are strictly going to be shooting at ships that are larger than it. And then the problem is those ships that are larger than it are not worried about missiles. So you're hunting big prey, and then you're hunting big prey with a weak loadout because missiles are useful against fighters. They are not useful against larger ships, really. Not to a degree that the other ships are. So I put the Freelancer Miss at F tier. I actually haven't seen anyone use any of these competitively or at all in many years, to be honest. So I put that there. Hercules A2 just owns, yeah? Like, it just owns. It actually got speed nerfs in Atmosphere, so I'd probably put it at A tier now. Actually, I might put it at B. I think the speed reduction in Atmosphere really hurt the Hercules. Yeah, I think B makes sense. Which I could put the A1 higher. Bomb gameplay owns. Thank God it's being tied to the economy and they're trying to nerf it cost-wise. But A2 is strong, but it's not as strong thanks to the speed nerfs. So you can shoot the bomb underneath it. You can see it coming a mile away now. It's not zooming past at the last flight model speeds. And it looks more realistic now, but easier to plan for it coming and get out of its way by the time it's there. So I'd put it at B tier. Still, bombs are incredibly useful, incredibly strong, but it just doesn't absolutely dominate like it used to. What else is there? The Guardian. Let's just do the Guardian. I'd put the Guardian at D. It's got the firepower, it's tankiness on the wings, but the centerpiece is like really not tanky. The interdiction's not nearly as compelling. It's just too slow. So it just kind of dies a similar death than Vanguards do, where it's kind of like there's no real purpose to it that another ship couldn't outperform it in. Like if you're using the Guardian for interdiction, better to use the Mantis. If you're using the Guardian for its tankiness, it's better to use one of the tanky ships like the F8. Yeah, I will nerve. Damage, if you want to go for damage, you just go for something else. So it's like in this weird middle ground between tankiness, firepower, and interdiction, and it doesn't really lean close enough into any one of those effectively enough. So just not as compelling, yeah. Kind of fell short. I think it could have been given better interdiction mechanics, maybe, or just maybe some speed. Like if it got maybe interceptor tuning or something, it could be really compelling and up closer to the A row. But I'd put it at D. I kind of feel like it belongs alongside the Mark II and Tracker, where it's just not strong and kind of doesn't capture its own personality that well. So, gosh, I'm losing my voice. Sorry, guys. But yeah. I think it fell short. Looks awesome. Probably traverses Pyro a lot better than, these other ships, but kind of just falls a little short in every category that it's competing in. And just kind of needs some buffs, I think, if it's going to be compelling. The Shrike is just the worse version of the Firebird, really. It is not bringing anything to the party that the Firebird isn't doing way better. So Shrike goes to F. It's just been replaced by the better boyfriend, and that's the Firebird, sadly. Card to Wall. I think the Card to Wall is insane. I put the Card to Wall probably here. It's so agile in those alien ways. It can wrap around people. It's surprisingly really tanky because it takes damage to different parts of the body. And it just gets in your face. It wraps around you. Then the problem and downside to it is that it's a giant starfish, so it gets third-partied pretty heavily too. I'd probably put it there. No, I'd put it at B. But I think the Card to Wall is like seriously underestimated. But it shines in 1v1s, and it does not shine in group fights. Actually, I would move it closer to that. Yeah, I think that makes more sense. C. Sentoki Eye, awesome in atmosphere, really tanky. 4 size 3s, which is nice. B. Yeah, B. Yeah, I'd put it at B. I just think that's a good place to put it. But it's surprisingly tanky. It flies awesome in Atmo. Alien flight characteristics, again, not bad turn rate. Just a stable ship. It's going to lose to a lot of stuff, but it surprisingly does the tanky role pretty well for how much maneuverability and damage it's got also. So put it there. M50. If you PvP in a racing ship, you're a bit of a scumbag, but it's tiny. The small guns on it are annoying. Don't think it should have guns. Extremely agile, but it's just a lesser fighter. and more of a nuisance, but it can be an annoying, effective a nuisance, but you can just fly other ships way better. So don't go out and buy this thing unless you're in love with it, but then you're flying or playing an uphill battle. There's just more compelling ships, but it's not trash, it's not useless. So End of DC makes sense to me. The Spirit A1. So the Spirit A1's good at its purpose. I'm going to put it at A. Because as far as bombers go, there's not a site where blowing an A2's bomb was just the size and you couldn't go below it. A bomb that's effective with an A2 is almost as effective as an A1 bomb. Like, you're wanting to do precision bombing, not just gigantic bombing, as far as the game goes right now. Example, Jump Town's a tiny structure. A ship is a smaller target. These bombs are going to hit the same target. Having a wider circumference or diameter on your bombs is not worth the consequences of hopping it into an A2. The Spirit A1 does this with speed, gives people less time to react. A faster ship. I just think if you're going to use bombs, better to go to precision and speed routes and just pay the price of smaller bombs than to go the slow and tanky route and have bigger bombs. You drown someone in 20 feet of water is the same as drowning someone in 2 feet of water. Yeah, there's no difference if they drown, all the same. So, Spirit A1, as far as like bombing fleet doctrine, would be my choice for sure. So, bombs are, again, really effective as well. A lot of the content's moved away from grounded outposts as of late with 4.0, which is probably why I wouldn't put it at S tier. But as far as bombers go, the Spirit A1, in my opinion, is the best. Polaris. I'm going to put the Polaris at A. I'm going to probably put it here. Torpedoes are in a bad place. It's good for PvE, but torpedoes in PvP are only good against like unsuspecting targets that have no idea that you're about to engage them, and then you almost have to be melee distance to get them. But the turret shred, it is so tanky that it requires people build compositions to try and kill you with it. It is, it's got the hangar inside of it, the cargo bay. As far as multi-crew goes, like, it is such a hassle to deal with a Polaris. Like, if a group comes to you and they bring 2 Polarises, you now have to bend your group's entire squad or fleet composition to be able to take those Polarises out. It's a game changer in that sense. An annoying tank class that will sit amongst you, it will barely take damage, and it will slowly get you guys if you don't play careful. So, as far as capital ships, it does all right. I wish the torpedoes were way better. If the torpedoes and missiles were more convincing, I would put it probably in S tier. But as far as our first capital ship, it's not a bad delivery, but the torpedoes are just shocking. So we will put it there. The Warden goes in F. All the Vanguard series just struggle. Yeah, they don't have crazy damage. The turret is so small, like 2 size 2s, just not convincing enough. Tankiness of these Vanguard series isn't tanky enough to justify them as a pick, especially to commit to players. The only reason I put it on this is because it's semi-useful in Pyro with the bed log out, the storage and stuff like that. But I think the Vanguard series, all of them are in some pretty desperate need for some loving from the developers. They need buffs. Sad days, but they kind of feel like those days are over right now. Cutlass Blue, interdiction's nice, weapon's nice, not agile at all. It's got that multi-purpose to it. Probably put it at E. Not useless. The interdiction's nice. Interdiction's in a really good place, but You're not winning against anything above it. But it does bring some kind of utility to it in a sense that, you know, you've got those PU features. Yeah, so I'd put it at E. Strictly based off the interdiction, for sure. Scorpius, probably D. Kind of just fails to really capture anything great about it. Better to always run 2 players, I think. Not terrible, not good either. So the back of the D sounds... No, I'd probably put it ahead at E. We'll see. We'll see where that goes. Connie Andromeda, so the constellation. Didn't get the nerf like the Corsair did. Kind of an annoying single-seater. We expect that to get nerfed with engineering. Lot of firepower, good for punching above its weight, good for being a nuisance in a fight and a problem to deal with, but not an urgent problem to deal with. I would probably say yeah, I think about there makes sense. No, it should go like there. Yeah, that looks better. Yep. Yeah, in the middle of C makes sense. Question. Yeah, the Mantis. The Mantis owns. Guardian vs F8 loses. Just asking out of curiosity. Maybe due to the damage output and probably the shields, I guess. Yeah, the F8's just got the damage output. The F8 is so tanky. It's crazy. Yeah, it kind of just... The F8, it's like, it's the shields, it's the tankiness, it's the massive amount of weapons, it's missiles, it's everything. Whereas the Guardian's just hindered in some of those categories and only provides interdiction. And even if it's interdicting people, it has to interdict in a squad because it's going to get outturned by almost all of these fighters. So, yeah, I'd put the F8 up there. But again, the F8's not in a great spot. I think it loses out to everything that's ahead of it, especially in a 1v1. But I think the F8's like really good at killing Connies, being a part of a group going after a Polaris. It's going to win against a lot of these ships like maybe the Hurricane, the Guardian, Defender, Scorpius, Cutlass Blues. It's going to eat those. But yeah, I'd put it about there. Yeah, I think that makes sense. The Hornet series, just a lesser version of the Mark II, but it doesn't have the nose bug. So I would put that here in B. Just behind the Saber. Yeah. It's just a weaker version of the Mark IIs, but it has the nose guns, so it definitely has to be higher than the Ghost and Tracker Mark IIs because it's got more firepower. And not paying that much of a price. Yeah, like the Hornet Ghost is the best pick for the Hornets there because the stealth meta right now. Yeah, including the Ghost Mark 1. Yeah, I am including the Ghost Mark 1 in this. But yeah, the Ghost Mark 1's definitely the best of the Hornet series and just behind the Saber, I think. Boys, the voice is not holding up. Corsair with the recent nerfs, but still pretty strong. We will put that back of C. It's got a lot of PU purpose, can carry loot, can carry cargo, can log out in it, can multi-crew, tanky, a lot of pilot power. Co-pilot does all right in it. Actually, I'd probably put it there at C. The purpose, but its utility is what's making it good, right? And then it does mid-tier in combat. If it wasn't for the pilot nerf, I'd probably put it higher. I'd probably put it in the A tier, actually. Maybe pretty high up in the A tier. But because of the nerfs to it, and the fact it's probably about to take a beating from engineering requirements, C makes sense to me, yeah? I think C is a good place. Glaive, the heavy hitter. We'll put that there. late C. Hits super hard. It's tanky. Flies decent for the amount of damage it does. The silhouette is not a pancake. It's like some weird U shape that's really thin profiled, but extremely poor cockpit experience. Visibility sucks. Vandal UI is super outdated, but the ship hits. Actually, no, I have to nerf it because I forgot why these things are hurting right now. Was it the capacitor changes? I think the cannons didn't translate that well with the capacitor changes of recent. And I think a lot of people are complaining about these. I haven't flown the Glaive in the last few months, and it's got terrible convergence and capacitor, yeah. Okay, so we'll put it in an F. It just fell apart with F. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Because it's not classified as repeaters. It's all cannons, yeah. And it bad convergence. The capacitor is really small. Extremely hard to hit. You killed a couple in the AC yesterday. Yeah, I remember there's like they didn't get updated with the new capacitor changes, and so they just kind of fell off. Yep. True. Again, another scumbag, which is the Razor. I'm not even going to put the Razor on this list. Like, if you're flying it, you're just flying it to troll. And it's just not good or worth it. Eclipse, we put it F. Torpedoes in a terrible spot. They just get PDC'd down. They are really hard to hit. They perform bad over internet. Eclipse just really lacks a good killing potential right now. It needs help. Eclipse used to be one of the coolest ships, and I think we need some more target options besides just capitals, because it can't even kill capital ships that well. So, yeah, I'd put that there. Ares Ion, again, only good at killing capital ships because the cannons got such bad convergence and stuff like that. It just falls behind. If you want to kill capital ships or larger vessels, you don't bring an Ion, you just bring a Hornet Mark II, F7A. Because you're going to get similar firepower, if not more. And it can do everything else like dogfighting and stuff. So the Ares Ion and Inferno just don't capture its own personality that well. I heard that the Ares Inferno can do some pretty solid damage to a Polaris, so maybe I'll put it at E. Purely based off the ballistics, isolating using sub-targeting. But again, you could just do the same thing in another ship. You could just put ballistics on like a Hornet or something. So yeah, long story short, the Ares get outperformed with their specific personality trait, which is to kill capital ships. They get outperformed by other ships doing that also have a suite of other things that they're good at. So why deal with the consequences of getting in an Ares Ion on Inferno when you can hop into a Hornet, for example, get those same benefits, but then have a suite of other things that you can do. So Ares are just in a really bad place right now. Again, Titan's got the interceptor tuning, but they're not like a Buck. They don't have the damage output of a Buck, and they're really easy to kill because they're just kind of like this big flying around ice cream cone that's easy to shoot at. Like, easy to shoot at, bad silhouette, not enough damage to justify hopping in it. Way better ship picks. We're going to put it in F, actually. Saber Raven, the worst ship in the game right now. Sad because it's the coolest and my favorite, but EMPs are in a terrible place. To get kills with the Raven requires so much setup. It doesn't have enough damage, sustain, maneuverability to 1v1 anything. Because it's an interceptor as well. And it requires a lot of help from other players to find its kill potential and EMP things. And then that EMP also hits your friendlies. So it's just like no good. Like the Raven is the worst ship in the game right now, in my opinion, for combat. Pick anything. I would take a Freelancer Miss over this. I wouldn't take an Eclipse over it. I would take a Gladiator. I would take a Hawk. I would take a Warden. I would take Ions, Shrikes. More likely to get kills in that than a Raven. It's a sad place. EMPs are in a real poor place right now, and have not had any love for years and years and years. So surely that gameplay loop is game mechanic is gonna get reworked, and when it does, the Raven will be looking forward to it. But sad days for the Raven still. I remember I ranked this really poorly in my last list, and it deserves to be very poor still. No love there. Hammerhead, I'd put it there at C. It's good at area denial, compelling in atmosphere, especially. Doesn't get rammed easy like the Polaris does. It can take a beating. It's not hunting down fighters, but it sure can deny fighters airspace. But you know, it's not exceptional or anything. And if you dedicate 6 players to it, why not pick 6 Hornets? So actually, I'm going to move it to D. Yeah, I'd put it at D. It's like, its role is to dedicate a lot of players and to control airspace. It can control airspace, but it can't control airspace better than having 6 Hornets, or 6 Firebirds, or 6 Gladiuses, right? So it's like, it does its role, but it doesn't do its role well. And it doesn't do its role terrible. But it's just kind of like, why pick it when you can achieve the same thing with something else? The only thing it has that 5 Hornets doesn't have is 5 beds and some cargo space, which is semi-useful in the PU. Stuff like that. Can't do dropship stuff like that. Hammerhead can. So we put it at D just because it gives those characteristics it does as well. But needs some loving. Not a lot of loving. You gotta be careful. If you buff this thing 20%, it could all of a sudden be like deep S tier. So it's just not there, but it's definitely underperforming, but not underperforming by a lot. It just needs a little love, I think. Sayulin, it's a starter ship. There's just no point. Scythe, same with the Glaive. Identical. Exact same problems. Doesn't have its purpose. Mechanics are outdated. Needs buffing. Needs revision. Kind of broken, if anything. So the same thing like we explained with the Glaive. Retaliator. Torpedoes are in a terrible place. It's super tanky. We put it right next to the Eclipse because it's purely based off torpedoes. Not good. And guys, that's it. We actually got through it all. I'm not going to put the Merlin, I'm not going to put the Cutlass Steel. These are drop ships. They're not trying to throw down in PvP. Those are purposes that don't include this. It just ain't out yet. Connies have a better combat variant. And all these are others. Ballista, I'll put here. The Ballista's kind of just fallen off too. Doesn't do anything convincingly. It used to be in such a great place. Missing out the Reliant. Good point. Reliant, I'll put there. Supposed to be like some weird ship. It doesn't really do anything well. Doesn't fly well. Doesn't have a huge amount of firepower in comparison to the other fighters. Just doesn't really have a purpose. It's got a little bit of cargo space, but that's just not anywhere near near useful. So yeah, I think it goes in F. Like, basically what I'm getting at with this, guys, is S tier ships. I like the Gladius being there. I think it needs to be there because this Gladius is really hard to play. Like, let's just go from top to bottom again. The Hornet Mark II is an extremely easy ship to fly, and it is incredibly OP. It is too easy to play. It is too strongest. And it's just like the obvious pick. And it's been good for 6 months now. Like, this thing has been king. It's funny because everyone was giving me shit in the comments of my last video about this, but it is the king. And probably needs some nerfs because it's too easy to fly. You can just backstrafe with this thing. You can just kite with this thing and mow anything that comes close to you down. If you third party anyone with this thing, it's going to die almost instantly. The Hornet Mark II F7A is the king. Firebird is really compelling for missiles. It's got stealth, which is really powerful in the meta right now. It's got extremely strong missiles and a lot of them, and interceptor tuning. So it has everything. The only thing it doesn't have is guns, and it doesn't need them because you're getting murked by this thing. Also, missile warnings are a bit bugged right now, so it just further leans into its strengths. Firebird is juiced right now. Extremely low skill ceiling missile gameplay. I don't hate on missile gameplay like a lot of people do, but it is too easy and it's not interesting enough or intricate enough. There's definitely cool things you can do in a Firebird. There's definitely some tips and tricks and ways that you can fly differently than just brain dead Firebird. You can actually play a bit of poker games with missile warnings and stuff like that, but it's like good. Saying give you shit for breaking OPSEC, true. Gladius, super high skill ceiling, but it can perform. Yeah, I think the Gladius deserves to be an S tier. Pure and not get nerfed into the ground because it's so hard to play competitively in, while the other ships are so easy to play. But when you push it that hard, it is that good. So I think the Gladius deserves to be there, actually, just because it's so hard to play. If the Firebird and Hornet Mark II were harder to play, I'd say they deserve to be there too, but they're so easy to play. Mantis is really hard to play. Extremely hard to play. And is a whole different unique skill set, but extremely powerful. Deserves to be there. Interdiction in master modes owns. It owns. It's so good. Start flying Mantises, guys. It's cracked. Spirit A1, this is cool. Bombing's really effective, and it does bombing well. Yeah, it does these big, huge, fast runs, drops the bomb, precision striking, awesome. Antares, interdiction, and intercepting tuning is an insane combination. Like, interdiction and interceptor tuning is crazy good together. The only downside to this is it's a 2-player commitment. If this didn't have a 2-player commitment, I might put the Antares second. The 2-player commitment is the nerf. Like, that's it. The blade just owns, it pumps, it's terrifying. Purely, only reason it's not ranked 3 on S tier is because it's got a really bad cockpit experience, really outdated ship. Talon, again, so compelling in Atmo, tanky, good all-arounder, but atmosphere is the reason I put it really high, and I think it's really underestimated, sorry. Polaris is just in an awesome place right now. It's changed the way PvP's played. A lot of groups have found their way into PvP because of it. Multi-crew's finally looking kind of compelling. It's like a home base at the same time. As far as a capital ship goes, I think it captures its role really well. It's not devastating other groups of players, but it is an annoyance. You have to bend to it, or it's going to take airspace away from you. It's a good hit. Yeah, like, it's landed. It's not overboard, and it's just having a strong presence. But it's not hunting you down like these other ships are. It's just taking airspace away from you. Fury, annoying, needs nerfing, but is let down by no quantum interdiction. The F8, again, punches above its weight. A lot of damage, a lot of tankiness, really sturdy, can't turn rate, can't dogfight. But if you leave this thing on the board and you don't take it out, it's going to severely punish you. Like, you will get melted by one of these things. So you have to take it off the board quickly. That's why I keep it there. and in a pack and in a large group and going after ships that are larger than it, it's really effective. But in tight dogfighting squads kind of stuff, you're going to get ripped to shreds in one of these things. So that's why we put it behind all these other ships. Saber, again, got some buffs last time, but in the last 6 months, turn rate and stealth increases, but that huge pancake silhouette keeps it, it doesn't perform as well because it's still just a flying pancake. The Hornet Mark 1 series, specifically the Ghost, a lot of firepower, a lot more than the Ghost Mark 2, the Tracker Mark 2. A good pick, a good fighter, but falls behind on the other ones just by a small margin. I don't think this thing is that far behind the others, but yeah. Hercules A2, again, the bombs are amazing, but slow and tankiness isn't really what you want from a bomber nowadays. You want almost stealth and fast. Arrow, really bad nose authority. A lot of oversteer, awkwardness in aiming, and then it's tiny, so it's not extremely viable when it comes to defense and stuff like that. Centoki, yeah, just tanky, flies in ammo really well. Hurricane, really good at denying airspace in atmosphere. It's a lot of guns, they're jam-packed, it's tanky, and it's going to control airspace really well, but air space, not space. In space, it's going to get slowly picked apart by strafe runs and stuff like that. So Buccaneer, again, the most overhyped ship in the game. Again, I'm going to harp on this. It is a really low skill ceiling ship. You're playing to lose in this thing. You aren't using turn rate. You're not using pitch meta. You're not learning master modes or learning how to dogfight in this thing. You are a camera to which you watch other people dogfight in, and then you try to third party. Just not strong. Yeah, like you are not learning the game by flying this thing. You are actually ignoring the mechanics of getting better. You're using your ship to just run away from a fight rather than actually take the fight. And it just gets outperformed by everything. It can't 1v1 any of the ships above. In a squad, you're reliant on these like hit and run tactics that aren't even effective. And you're just hindering your progression at learning how to play the game because, you're not taking advantage of turn rate, positional combat, or anything. You're just flying away when it gets tough and flying in when it's easy. So, and even so, it's just not worth it. Like 8 Buccaneers doesn't beat 8 Gladiuses. 8 Buccaneers doesn't beat 8 Firebirds. 8 Buccaneers doesn't beat 8 Hornets. It wouldn't even beat 8 Blades. It wouldn't beat 8 Talons. So, yeah, the Buccaneers, a support role ship. You maybe having 1 or 2 in a squad's not too bad, and you can chase some opportunistic kills and finish people off before they could escape, but really an underperforming ship and not very good. Andromeda, again, you can just be a nuisance. You're tanky and in the way. People are going to target you last because they'll waste time on you, but just is what it is. There's a place for it, but it's not extremely effective, but it's not useless. It's just right in the middle there. Sup, Geos. Cartwall, surprisingly good. Tanky, surprisingly. Agile, surprisingly. But a giant starfish gets killed in group fights for sure. Archimedes, again, not a lot of damage. Vulnerable to damage. Agile and annoying. Scumbags fly this thing because you're just trying to be a nuisance and the game's breaking because it's this microscopic fighter that doesn't play well over the internet. Same with the M50. Corsair, recently with the nerf, but has some PU purpose. Isn't terrible. Not great, not good. Kind of right in the middle. Hammerhead, we explained that. The Ghost Mark 2, again, missing nose turret on that and the tracker. Doesn't do stealth compelling enough to justify not running a Hornet Mark 2. Doesn't do stealth great enough to justify not picking a Saber. kind of hasn't captured its own personality. If the personality was to be stealth, the stealth difference between it and other ships isn't convincing enough to be in one. Same with the tracker. The radar usefulness is not convincing enough to justify not being in another fighter. Not worth the sacrifice of hopping into one of these ships when you can fly something else. Better Defender, again, it's more of a home than a ship, essentially. It's capable, but just doesn't do the job better than these other ships. Just kind of falls behind. Guardian, it's kind of the similar consequence or shortcomings of the tracker and the Hornet Ghost. Just, it's not, it gets outperformed by Mantis when it comes to interdiction heavily. It's tanky, but because it's slow, it just takes that beating and can't do anything. So the tankiness isn't useful. The guns and the maneuverability aren't high enough to make it a threat. So it just loses a slow battle to almost everything else. And just isn't really a concern. If there was any place for this, it's in kind of like 3v3 environments, maybe. Maybe in the atmosphere, it's a bit more lethal, like interdicting targets and not letting them escape an atmosphere, but just kind of doesn't capture its personality. And I guess you have to ask, what is that supposed to be? Is it supposed to be a heavy hitter? Because it's not hitting that hard. Is it supposed to be tanky? Because it's just dying a slower death anyways. It's definitely not supposed to be agile because it's not agile. And the interdiction's just not compelling in comparison to a Mantis. So I guess the question is what is this thing supposed to be beating? Would be my question. I guess I'd have to ask, what are the developers trying to accomplish that? And then with it. And then you just have to look at, well, does that fit into the balancing of flight and stuff right now? And the answer is no. So not useless, not useful. But you take this thing out in the PU, you're going to be able to kill players with it, for sure. But not competitively. Scorpius, not useless, not compelling. Kind of what's the purpose of it? I guess is the question. It's just okay. Yeah. I'd actually move the Scorpius to D. Cutlass Blue again, just it's a Cutlass, so it's really an ice cream truck. It's got interdiction. Interdiction's really good right now. I put it at E, purely based off interdiction. Inferno, I've heard some cool things about sub-targeting capital ships with an Inferno, but again, you put slap on ballistics to any of these other ships and they're going to do that same thing, but better. So, not useless, but you're role-playing bringing this thing out. The Titan Interceptor is nice, but it just gets eaten alive and doesn't have the damage for it. So Glaive is broken, essentially. The Scythe is broken, just can't hit people, can't converge. Cockpit's outdated. Those ships are broken. Torpedo gameplay, again, is broken, so the Eclipse and the Retaliator just fall short. It's doesn't work against anything, not even capital ships. They just get PDC'd and stuff down. Raven, the worst ship in the game. Ballista kind of just fell off. It kind of just died a quiet death. Freelancer Miss just hasn't found its way back into combat in years. It's getting outperformed by Firebirds and stuff like that. Shrike is just, its wife has left him for a better man, and that's the Firebird. Reliant just isn't compelling. Gets outgunned by everything, but is slow at the same time. The Hawk is supposed to be agile, but it's just not agile. And Gladiator's just, again, the fat, sloppy version of a Firebird, really. So that's it. But that's the list. I think that's pretty much perfect. Like, honestly, guys, I think the F tier is just random. Like these are just all bad. Okay, like this isn't in order, but I think I back the order of which these are in. Like, I think that going left to right, all the way down this list is almost entirely accurate. And I tell you this too from like experience. Like, we fly with pilots that win tournaments and stuff over here, and even, you know, players that are competitive in other PvP groups and stuff, I think would back this list. I think this is pretty close to 100% right now. If you take into account all the things I did. So there you go. That's the list. I'm going to snippy that. Good stuff. Awesome, man. There you go. Seriously, Liz, you like that? Yo, boy, I miss you, man. I hope you are well. I think about you often. I hope you're good, dude. It's been a while. Talon is A tier. I did not even try to fly it recently because of wings getting blown off PTSD. It's surprisingly tanky now. Like, I think the wings are far more tankier. But the answer is bumped. I bumped my microphone, sorry. But Talon's just really, really good in atmosphere. Hell yeah, bull. We'll have to catch up. Crazy to me that a mantis can hold its own in a dogfight unless I miss something. No, it can't hold its own in a dogfight. So it's not just strictly a list of dogfighting. It's a list of bringing a ship for a purpose in PvP and how well it does that purpose and how well that purpose scales. So the mantis can't 1v1. It can't escape that well. But interdiction is so strong and it does interdiction so well. That's why I gave it the S. But no, this is not like a 1v1 tier list. No. For this first Hornet, you mean the F7A, not the C. Yeah, sorry. I clarified that in the video. I said it a lot of times, but yeah, the F7A specifically. Not the C. I just assume that no one even uses the C. Because everyone got the C and then just upgraded it. No, you're right, brother. All good. But yeah, like, I think everyone forgot the C even exists, to be honest. But yeah, definitely the 7A. There you go. Cool, man. That'll be a cool little YouTube video too. That'll be a fun little one. Where would you put the C by itself? Probably behind the Fury. And between the F8 and the Fury. Yeah, that's where I put it. Super Hornet Mark II should be like the F7A, I think. Yeah, we'll have to see. To be fair, they've done pretty well. Like, the last 3 ships that they've released actually haven't been that good. And usually every new ship they release is the new king. But the last 3 ships have been kind of disappointments. Like, if anything, I'd rather them get buffs and be closer to A tier. I don't want them at S tier. I don't want them to be the only ship, but I want them to be more compelling, that's for sure. Thanks again, amazing. No, it's all good. Yeah, like, you guys mentioned you wanted this, and I actually surprisingly have a lot of fun, like, thinking through this. And Contested Zone was driving me crazy tonight. Sup, Zeus? Connie might genuinely be S tier. You think? No. I don't... Yeah, like, there might be an argument to put the Connie higher. What do you think about the Buck being where it is, Nix? What do you think about the Buck being where it is? I just think the Buck is like... It's the interceptor role. Like, if you're flying an interceptor, you're strictly... It's like, you better be playing support next to a bounty hunter or something. But throwing a pilot in a Buccaneer... You're playing to lose, man. I don't know. I don't like it. I think it's really poor. Only because the Corsair got nerfed. Otherwise, the Corsair would have still been the solid Bob King ship. Agreed. That's why I put the Corsair behind the Connie. Yep. But I also think the Connie is about to get hit by the absolute nerf bat coming, which is engineering. I think engineering is gonna hit this thing with our baseball bat. I think all those solo pilots that are flying Andromedas in Corsair's got another thing coming. Doesn't the Scorp and the Hurricane do the same thing? Hurricane's whole HP is so poor, it's hard to see it above the Scorp. It flies good in atmosphere, is the thing. Like, the Hurricane flies really well in atmosphere, and then those guns are like super lethal in atmosphere. So, like, it's like the Hurricane's bad in an open field, right? But if you throw the Hurricane inside of a cage match, you're going to be getting beat up for sharing the cage match with a fucking Hurricane. It's like a tiger. You know, it's like, how scary is a tiger if you have an assault rifle and you're playing on a football field? The tiger's not that scary. You're going to waste that tiger before he gets close to you. Now put that tiger in a cage and you've got the assault rifle. That tiger might murk you before you get guns on, right? That's the good equivalent of it. Sayulan S tier, you think? I just didn't include it. I won't include it because it's a starter ship, but I also need to get owned by one of these things before I do it because I've never seen anyone fly this thing any near well. Maybe there's some secret tech there that I'm not aware of, but I am yet to see anyone in AC or the PU with a Sayulan that I've ever been concerned about. Sayulan versus the Cutlass Black, who wins? Fucking every ship in the game. Besides the Cutlass Black, I would say. I think the only thing the Cutlass Black could be is like a prospector. Starter versus starter. Guardian shoot have an interceptor tuning would make it at least C or B tier. I could agree with that, Mighty Beast. I could agree with that. You don't know. I mean, the Sayulan would be more agile. I mean, I've never flown a Sayulan, guys, so I can't really give you like a lot of information on the fact. All I know is that it is not getting used competitively in any sense. But nor do I care to put it on the list because it's literally supposed to be a starter ship. The whole idea of a starter ship is to replace it. So it's like, there's just no reasoning to put it on there, I don't think. Oh, you got all the ships? Yeah, no problem. No, you're right. You're all good. Arrow needs another shield to bring it back to competitive state with the Gladi IMO, but I'm a shit pilot, so if the Arrow had better nose authority, so less oversteer, it would be up there with the Gladius. It might even beat the Gladius at that point. But you have to be careful with this shit though, right? Like if you give the Arrow another shield, then you've got that problem of you're trying to kill an Arrow that's really tanky just because it's aids to shoot at. Like anything that is small, like physically, if those ships are physically tiny, you have to be so careful with the defense that you give them. If they're too agile and they've got shield or hull, then it's a recipe for frustration. It's a recipe for the game to break, recipe for bad hit reg, a recipe for bad networking, desync. Like, the smaller the ship is, the more of a glass cannon it needs to be. Because the game cannot compute, and I emphasize on the word here, compute, with ships that small. It's just, if you asked me if I was in Chris's position, I'd take the Archimedes, I'd take the M50, I'd take the Arrow, I'd take the Fury, and yeah, and maybe the Hawk. I take all 5 of those ships. I take them out back, and I put a bullet in every one of them. Bang, 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 bang. You no longer exist. That's it. because I think any ship smaller than the Gladius. It's not because I don't. It's just I don't like when the game breaks, and those ships are tiny, and the game breaks when you fly against them. Like, it breaks. Ships should not be smaller than the Gladius, and that's not because I'm like some Gladius simp or anything, right? Like I'm just using it as a reference point in regards to its size. But small ships make the game break. If small ships are agile, don't work. It's like imagine if we were PvPing in those bikes, those little motorcycles, hover bikes or whatever. You know, like you would never hit each other. Yeah. Yeah, no, like back in the day there was the 3.4 patch. Even the larger ships were agile. And it actually made the game really fun because you didn't feel robbed, you didn't feel like robbed, sorry, you didn't feel like the game was breaking. When you hit something, you actually hit it. And if they were evasive, they were just evasive. You didn't feel robbed. So, but the problem is they've kind of they're in with master modes, which is a bad decision in my opinion. The larger the ship, the slower they make it. And I think that's not good design, to be honest. I think that's why all the heavy fighters are bad. Look at it like the Guardian, bad. Vanguard series, bad. The Freelancer Miss, bad. Saber, too big, so it's kind of bad. All the big ships, the heavy class, like the Hurricane average, Scorpius average, Cutlass bad. You know, like all the heavy ships kind of suck because they just get killed first. Why is the Antares so strong? Because it's got interdiction and interceptor tuning, and that is a really lethal combination. Interdiction is super strong right now, like insanely strong right now. And then you pair that with the fact that you can't escape this thing because it's got interceptor tuning, you're in a world of trouble. If you ever try to run away from this thing, it's not going to let you go. And that's a problem. So the Antares is really good. It's just the only downside to it. And the reason it's not even higher is purely because it's a two-player commitment. So in a 2v2, it's average. In an 8v8, it's very useful. In a 12v12, it's very useful. And it just scales. The bigger the fight, the more players involved, the more useful it just becomes. Hurricane is trash without a gunner. I agree. But you throw a gunner in it, and then you put it in atmosphere, and it shreds. What was the other question? Why is the Spirit A1 strong? Just because bombing is really strong. And it's got speed, not like the A2 bomber has. Pony, what's up, brother? It's not strong because it can dogfight. It's not strong because it's got guns. It's strong because it can bomb with speed. And bombs are OP. And so is speed. So that's why. Anyone got any other questions on this one? I'm going to start wrapping it up soon. Good stuff, though. This was fun. Surprisingly fun stream. Surprisingly fun. F7A fights still worse than the F7C Mark II in Atmo. I know it flies fine now. Yeah, there was like some weird mechanics, like where it was kind of like falling out of the sky and stuff. No, flies fine now. I forgot what patch it was, but they made some change to it specifically. But no, not a consequence anymore. I know exactly what you're talking about. I used to avoid flying the F7A Mark II in atmosphere because of that. Since it's been fixed. I think they discovered it was a bug. I think what it was I think they released an arena commander mode and the NPCs were falling out of the sky. And so to fix that, they accidentally fixed the other ships falling out of the sky for players as well. And then the F7A got the buff that way. The Mark II S5 nose turrets, or where? I don't even know. What is this? Is there a Mark II with S5 nose turrets? What? Is there one? Shit. It's crazy. I didn't know about this. What is this? What are you talking about? What do you mean? All right. All right. Maybe he's talking about the Super Hornet. Hey, thanks for the follow, Daxco, Yoteman, Red Snare, Jade Foxy, Scrag, Raptor, Badger, Worse OG, and all hell Zeus. Guys, I appreciate you. Everyone that kept me company on this, I appreciate you. This was fun. Yacht ya. Maybe Mike is streaming. He is. That little shit. What is he doing? Is he in a react? Is this guy in a react right now? I don't know if he's in a react. I'm just deciding whether to rate him or not. Maybe I'm bugging, but there was an attachment for the hardpoint on the nose of the Hornet that you could throw the S4 gun on the nose. I think you could put the gun on it. Reacting to a post. Alright, fuck it. He doesn't get the raid. Fuck it. Anyways, guys, yo, I appreciate you, yeah? Both on YouTube and Twitch. Awesome. What would you recommend for the solo Vaughn missions now that the core says nerf to Connie? What do you mean? Wait, what do you mean? Now that the core says nerfed... Oh, a Connie. Yeah, sorry, you answered the question yourself. Yeah, a Connie for sure. Yeah, definitely the answer to that would be a Connie. Alright guys, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. GG's everyone. Yeah. GG's. Just raid it going to him anyway. No, he's doing a react, and I don't want to make the react about me. Oh wait, maybe he's finishing up. Oh, can I? Good vid, thanks, bud. Yeah, make sure you guys check it out on YouTube. Yeah, I'll put it up on YouTube tomorrow, most likely. Hey, yeah, have a good Christmas tomorrow, guys. Have a good Christmas. Yeah, Merry Christmas to all of you. I hope you all get a lot of gifts under your tree, etc. I can't tell if this fucker is reacting or not. Is this going to go in a YouTube video or not? Fuck him. Fuck him. I'll make this react about me. I don't give a fuck. Alright, let's go say hi to Salty Mike, guys. Everyone, GG's. Santa better bring me a javelin. Santa better bring me... Fuck, what do I want? Santa better nerf the fucking grenade launcher in FPS. Santa better nerf the fucking grenade launcher in FPS. GG's.